Good evening, Ospreys. I'm Douglas Markowitz.
And I'm Cassandra Ortiz. You're watching Spinnaker News on Spinnaker Television.
Well, starting this May, 40 parking spaces near the Osprey villages will be removed to make way for a brand new 4-story parking garage. The proposal, which is currently in the planning and design stage, is going forward now to alleviate both the always present lack of parking on campus and more immediate problems caused by the construction of the clubhouse. The new garage, 44A, will be built across the street from the Fine Arts Garage, and the two will be connected by walkways on 2 levels. It is estimated that the building will cost $7 to $7.5 million to construct, with auxiliary services fronting the bill. Several villages residents have raised concerns about the lack of space during construction, but according to Director of Business and Parking George Andrewin, more Housing A permits will be sold once the project is complete.
JEA is still investigating a power outage at the Osprey fountains from last week. That was on November 4th at around 9 p.m. Students were left without power for an hour and a half. Luckily, those backup generators kicked on, though, supplying limited energy to the dorms until 10:30 that night. UPD was alerted of that outage, but it was ultimately referred to JEA.
Several students were distressed upon learning that they could not officially join UNF's branch of Best Buddies. The international organization, which creates friendships between people with disabilities and those without, sets a deadline at the start of the fall for local programs to send a list of their new members. Once the deadline is passed, UNF's club cannot take new sign-ups. Despite a UNF rule preventing clubs from turning away applicants, Best Buddies say they must comply with their parent institution's deadlines and that their hands are tied. That being said, the applicants won't be barred from participating in club activities. They'll just be doing them as unofficial members and won't receive certain privileges like t-shirts and other awards.
Okay, Ospreys will stay with us. Keep it right here. We'll be back right after this message.
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here. I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog.
So, I got this new family. And I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Welcome back, Ospreys. I'm Cassandra Ortiz.
And I'm Douglas Markowitz. It's time to catch up on the weather with Tabitha Louie.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Ospreys, what's going on? I'm Tabitha Louie here with your weather report. Although temperatures were warmer today, things this week will be cooling down. Tomorrow we'll have partly sunny skies as the temperature drops down 9 degrees to a cool 70. It will feel even cooler since there's a northeastern wind blowing through at 11 to 16 miles per hour. As we take a look at the radar, we can see the little drop of rain in our region. That doesn't look too bad compared to the showers we may be facing from the northwest. Let's take this time now to check out the 5-day forecast. All right, guys, I have to say it is going to be a beautiful weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures will be in the low 70s with partly sunny skies. When Sunday rolls in, keep an umbrella handy because there's a 20% chance for showers in the evening and up to Tuesday as well. Sunday through Tuesday will be in the mid 70s, and across the board, the lows will be in the high 50s to lower 60s. Overall, it looks like we have a wonderful week in store for us. Take a jacket along this week and an umbrella Sunday through Tuesday. Have a great weekend, Ospreys. Let's take it back to the desk.
2 students have been referred to student conduct after marijuana pipes and beer were found in the Osprey Crossings room. A resident assistant was doing a routine inspection when she noticed a plastic bag over the smoke detector. That's when she called UPD and a resident life coordinator. When UPD arrived on the scene, they found 11.3 grams of marijuana, 2 homemade pipes, and 2 12-ounce cans of beer. The resident life coordinator said 2 students were moving from that dorm to another and left it in disarray. Also on October 30th, the resident assistant smelled marijuana coming from one of the Osprey Crossings dorms. That was just after 10:30 that night. UPD was called and the student confessed to having 5.6 grams of marijuana, a pipe, and a bong. The student was given a notice to appear for possession of drug paraphernalia and less than 20 grams of marijuana. That student and a witness were both referred to student conduct.
Last month, we reported on the government shutdown causing an unceremonious end to UNF Assistant Biology Professor Dr. Julie Richmond's research on Antarctic seals. Well, we've got an update on that story. Dr. Richmond's trip to McMurdo Station is back on. The 2-week-long research trip will investigate how Weddell seals can reproduce and grow thicker fur in such a cold, harsh environment, and UNF undergrad biology students will be given first-hand access to her findings. The trip will also focus on climate change and its effects on Antarctica's wildlife and observe seal population growth. For that reason, the National Science Foundation designated the expedition as a priority. The Spinnaker spoke to Dr. Richmond about what she'd be doing this trip.
Faculty member go to the Antarctic is pretty prestigious, so that first is pretty great. I will be able to bring samples back to the university, so my students that are working in my laboratory will be able to analyze those samples and conduct research on this pretty exotic species.
The professor will be leaving for the bottom of the world on November 4th.
Today at the Student Union, the Military and Veterans Resource Center held their annual event honoring Veterans Day. The event honored not only UNF current and alumni students, faculty, and staff who were in the military, but the veterans who are involved in clubs and organizations here on campus. Over 1,000 veterans from all of the military branches attend UNF, and a quite large number of faculty members are veterans as well. The event was held today rather than on the actual Veterans Day because to honor our veterans, the campus is closed.
It's time to catch up on sports with Josh Brannick.
Like an earthquake.
You, Mr. Douglas Marky Mark Markowitz. Hey, Ospreys, I am Josh Brannick, and I am here with a jammed-packed sports update for your Spinnaker Sports. Now, we are going to start off on the grass where the UNF men's soccer team took on those pesky Dolphins from JU last night at JU. It was a slow match at first with a lot of possession and a few missed opportunities, but in the second half, the Ospreys struck. In the 66th minute, Sylvester Zenowitz, yes, I said Zenowitz, netted a goal to give the Ospreys a 1-0 lead. But in the 80th minute, JU struck back and tied it up. The game would end in a 1-1 draw, but despite only gaining 1 point, the Ospreys made some history last night. The team clinched its first A-Sun Conference playoff spot since joining the conference. The team will play in just one game this weekend as they host the Eagles from Florida Gulf Coast University in a matchup of the Birds on Saturday at 7 p.m. at Hodges Stadium. Now headed from the grass to the wooden floor, the UNF volleyball team is making it a habit of keeping it interesting and taking its games into the 5th set. On Tuesday night, head coach Steve Loswick and the Ospreys welcome Stetson University to the UNF Arena. We pick it up in the second set with Stetson already up 1-0 after some nice passing here. The ball eventually makes its way over to Selena Dunn, who brings down the hammer and gets a point for the Ospreys. Later in the set, Stetson serves it on over the net, and after a pass to setter Abby Fessel, Kelly Coop uses her pinpoint laser accuracy and hits a roll shot into the only open spot on the floor. Honestly, she must be cheating because that ball was hit in the breadbasket. UNF would take the second set 25-19 and eventually take the match in a 5-set dogfight 3-2. Now the team will be busy this weekend as they host 2 big games this weekend. The team will host the Kennesaw State Owls tomorrow at 7 p.m. and then the Bears of Mercer on Saturday at 3 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, basketball is back, and both the men and women are starting off the year with some tough road competition. We're going to start off with men's basketball. The UNF men's basketball team is starting off its tough non-conference schedule against the depleted yet still talented University of Florida Gators roster tomorrow at 3 p.m. This season, the men will take on Big Ten teams including Ohio State, Indiana, and Michigan State before heading into conference play. The team has 4 returning players with Division I experience and 7 new faces. The team's first home game is November 16th. Make sure to follow Spinnaker Sports on Twitter and Instagram for updates throughout the season and in-game coverage tomorrow. Now, the men's basketball team schedule sounds rough, but the women's team has an equally tough start to its season. The women will head south and take on the University of Miami Hurricanes tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. On Sunday, the team will be following the men to Gainesville to play the University of Florida Gators at 2 p.m. The women's roster looks similar to the men with some new faces scattered across the depth chart. One new face to watch out for is freshman Janaea Williams. You may be asking why Williams of all players, and that's solely based off of what head coach Mary Tapmeyer said transpired at a practice. The 6'3" North Carolina native took flight and threw down a dunk. That's all we got to sports. Let's go ahead and toss it back to the desk. I will see y'all there in just a second.
Thank you, Josh.
Well, looks like we got a new issue of the Spinnaker magazine right here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And you know what the best part is? If you go ahead and flip to this back section here, I'm going to go ahead and find it because, well, I'm not going to find it. There we go. We've got a nice little bit more in-depth look here. I don't know which camera we're on. We're either on 3 or 1. We've got a nice little in-depth look on basketball preview written by yours truly.
Shameless plug there. Shameless plug.
I do anything for plugs.
All right, UNF, well, that's all we have for you tonight.
Keep yourself updated with UNFSpinnaker.com for more UNF news.
Remember, Osprey, stay safe, stay dry in that rainy weather. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you next week.